get it going after Giants baseball on YouTube on the Krueg Show. Larry Krueger with you. Ryan Smith in the house. Dan Coach Emilio in the house. And, of course, we want to hear from you. It's going to be a lot of Giants tonight because the Giants win 9-2 on what looked to be a freezing cold night out at the ballpark. But the Giants get the win. And the bats are starting to heat up despite the cold weather, and we get it rolling on the Krueg Show. And of course, we definitely want to see as many people in the chat room as possible tonight. And in addition to that, Rye, are we able to take some video calls, maybe even some audio calls tonight? What do you think?
Absolutely. We should do both of those in honor of the four. I was just thinking, dang, I wish we had some sort of giveaway. I don't know how we go about.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we give away a couple Krueg Show T-shirts? Because I do have a couple extras sitting around here. So they're only size XL. So you got to be able to fill that shirt out. But if people want a Krueg Show T-shirt, maybe we'll do something later on in the show. But yeah, we get it rolling here, and right out of the chute, let's not bury the lead. Forget the 9-2 Giants. We have reached 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. So a little hand for everybody involved. Hey. They're going crazy on the patio. Anyway, but yeah, we are very happy. We started this endeavor exactly how long ago, would you say, right? I mean, it's
the 1st of April.
Well, it's probably a little bit before
late March.
Right?
Late March, yeah.
Yeah, March.
And if people look on the YouTube channel, I believe it was created maybe a little bit longer ago. It seemed like maybe you were trying to put some content up, a couple
years ago. You mean?
Yeah, years.
Well,
years
no, that doesn't count. We actually started.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, we didn't start until I would say middle of March, maybe late March. So we're about closing in on 5 weeks, 6 weeks in that range of being on YouTube. And we just want to thank everybody involved. Let's thank Ryan Smith. Let's thank Len Dempsey, who's not here, who's vacationing in Portugal. Let's thank our sponsors, Dan Coach Emilio, who's with us tonight, Casey Bateman, who's not with us tonight. But Casey, if you're out there, we appreciate you. And all these people in the chat and all the different people who have commented on social media. To get to 4,000 subscribers in less than 6 weeks is awesome. And I'm proud of what we've accomplished. We've put out a lot of great stuff that I think's cool, and onward and upward. So, it's been nothing but fun. We've been doing these post games. We kind of planted ourselves in the post game spot. In addition to that, we're doing a lot of live streams, talking a lot of football, a lot of Giants baseball, a lot of Warrior basketball. We've partnered with Niners Nation to bring you Kyle Posey in that segment every Thursday. We've got more of those kinds of things coming up in the days and weeks ahead. And onward and upward. And, I didn't know how this endeavor was going to go. Wasn't really sure if we'd like it, B, if others would like it. And so far, so good. So I don't know about you guys, but I really look forward to these shows. Last night we went for 3 hours. Now we will not go 3 hours tonight. We will not go 3 hours tonight. But I said last night, hey, let's keep it to a tight little 30, 40 minutes. 2 and 3 hours later, it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and my wife's going, are you cheating on me in the garage? And I said, no, I'm not.
I hear you whispering to the same person every time.
Yeah. Do you love me more or less than Dan Coach Emilio? And I'm like, honey.
It's Hutch that you're listening to.
Yeah.
You're whispering to.
She hears you speaking those sweet nothings to Hutch.
Yeah, Hutch in Murfreesboro. You were huge in the Bay Area and in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You never know how these things are going to work. But thank you. I just want to say thank you because you know what? Sometimes you don't have to you don't take the time to say thank you to people, and you just keep going on your way and doing your thing. And we are going to keep going on our way and doing our thing. But I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank you to Len and Ryan and Dan and Casey and all of you who have either watched these live streams, followed us. I can't tell you the number of people, guys, who have gone through and liked, my friends on Facebook, my friends on Twitter, who have gone in and clicked that they liked the show and they're already subscribing. And, there's some people, Lori and others out there who were big KMBR fans and followed me over to YouTube. And I just, I don't know. I mean, right here, I've got great feelings for all you people and you people. But yeah, I've got great feelings for everybody who is supporting this endeavor. And 4,000 is a brief stop down on our way to 5, 6, 7 and beyond. And I couldn't be happier right now. Yes, Dan, go ahead.
And up to 100,000 soon. Then all of a sudden we'll be seeing signs: Krueger versus Breed for the San Francisco mayor. Yeah.
Is Danny's mic breaking up there, Ryan? Are you getting a little bit of the?
It's sounding a little bit scratchy.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we, Danny, drop out, and then we'll drop Dan out, and we'll see if we can kind of hook up his line a little bit better. It's kind of scratchy, so we'll do this. We'll remove Danny from the stream for just a moment, and then Ryan, maybe you could tell him a couple things or text him a couple things, maybe something he can do to improve his phone line. But thank you to everybody. Len Dempsey's my good friend. Ryan Smith has joined our mix from the Adam Carolla show, former KMBR intern and employee, and now he's with us. And I'm absolutely thrilled to have those guys. Getting a chance to meet Dan, getting a chance to meet Casey and some of our sponsors. Thrilled that they saw the vision and believe in the project. And thanks to all of you, man. Thanks to all of you all here. And we got literally 50, 60 people here commenting about how, they love the show. Congratulations on 4K. Ranger 44, congratulations on 4K. Tony D, congrats Krueg show. It wouldn't be a post game unless somebody wanted to trade somebody. So Joe Bertolucci, who's a great friend as well, he says trade Dubon for a prospect. All right, we're officially off and running doing post game when we're trading people. So people saying they love the show. Just a lot of people who are joining with us. Randy 415, 4,000 with the exclamation points. Sam Bowers saying much love from New York City. Hard to get my local Giants fix elsewhere. Big fans. So, it's really cool. Really cool. Rebel 444 has been with us since the beginning. Definitely growing at a great pace. So I just, James Foster saying, we love you. James, I love you. I love you. And guys like you who are big supporters. Fable JVC, good to have you back, Larry. Congrats. I was a listener of yours when you hosted Sports Phone 680. You know what? Fable, thank you. Thank you for joining us. So, and then SG Sports Talk saying, enough of the celebration. Ryan, can you post the call, the call link in the chat so people can call in?
Oh, absolutely.
So we'll do that momentarily. So we're going to take video calls. We're going to take audio calls. Yeah, right.
Oh, I just wanted to say also, I think it's so, I was in the podcasting space at the Adam Carolla show, and it was really cool, but it was also a little bit more similar to a radio station, honestly, Lair, where it's like, yeah, you get, guests coming in person and whatnot, but it's like there's a distance between you and the fans. I didn't really realize how intimate the setting of YouTube is. And it's like really cool how we have in 4 weeks, we have between 5 and 8 people that show up to every stream, and they're always telling the other people in the chat, policing them to subscribe and
exactly
and hit the bell. And it's just wow, you got a little Krueg army this quickly.
I know, it's really, really cool. And I can't tell you how grateful I am for the support. It's just, you never know if your audience is going to go with you from, a great radio station like KMBR to YouTube. I always had confidence that we were going to put out good content, and I still every day I strive to make sure that we have good content, that we're not just throwing a bunch of crap against the wall, that we're doing live streams with people that are going to add to the discussion and advance the discussion, whether it be on the Niners or the Warrior playoffs or the Giants and what they're doing. So yes, as far as today, we're going to talk a whole lot more about sports than we're going to talk about this show. But it is a momentous day for us to reach 4,000 subscribers, to do it this fast. We got Danny back. Danny, are you back with us now? How's the mic?
Yeah. How's that? Any better?
It sounds better, doesn't it, Ryan?
Yeah. We'll let you know if it's like starts crackling.
Okay. It's for some reason the headset's not connected now. I'll just do it without the headset.
Okay.
You're a better looking guy without those damn headphones anyway. But Danny, when you were gone, we said everything that we always wanted to say to you. So I hope you got that. No, while you were gone, we just thanked you for being a believer in our concept. And then Samuel writes, I don't live in the Bay Area, so I love this move to YouTube. There's also, that's the other thing that I never really thought of, that all the different people that would stumble on this show, whether they're Giants fans, Niner fans, Warrior fans, Bay Area sports fans, or just kind of stumble upon us on YouTube as one of the things out there to entertain you sometime late in the evening, especially in the Eastern time zone. There's a lot of people that never heard me on KMBR, never heard me do a minute of radio, and they're joining us for this venture. So I just want to say I'm inspired. I've never had more fun. It was scary at first, but now it's like, you know what? I'm absolutely loving it. And we got huge plans for the year ahead, and we're just onward and upward. We're going to build this thing into a juggernaut. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for supporting this venture in one way or another. And there's lots of different ways to support, for sure. And I appreciate anybody who supports in any way, and whatever you can do to support us. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Danny, we had two sponsors off the start, Casey Bateman and the people at his company, and you and your private company. And there's a lot of places that you could go to market your company, and maybe even market it better than you're marketing it here. But I just appreciate the support. Ryan, get the damn front door. Get the front door. Who's at the front door? Hello, welcome to the Krueg Show.
Welcome to the Krueg Show.
Hello, my name is Shardo Gupta, and I'm calling from Fremont, California.
Yeah, our guy.
What's up, Shardol?
So I was just saying this was a great win for the Giants. Defeating the Rockies 9-2. And I think that we're pretty resilient, and I think if we want to sweep the Rockies, then we have a full right we can, because I know how great this team is, and I know that if they want to do anything, then they have their mindset onto whichever mindset they want to accomplish. So,
it's been a weird, Chardol, we appreciate you calling in here. We know you're a good sports fan. One thing that was interesting, I don't know if you guys saw this, ESPN did a whole report card for the first month of the baseball season. And how about this? The Giants in April average 4.95 runs per game, best in the major leagues.
Wow.
I mean, that is shocking to me. And they're only 16th in OPS for the month, but they led the majors with 4.95 runs per game. And everybody who watches Giants baseball, including all of us, know that they're not even close to full strength. They're not even close to the offensive team that I expect them to be at some point this year. And to lead the bigs with almost 5 runs a game is shocking. I mean, seriously shocking. I mean, look at some of those averages. Wade's barely played. He's hitting 125. He just came back. Ruff has had a rough start. Crawford's had a rough start. You name it. I mean, Joey Bart is in a free fall. This team, despite that, had the most runs per game of any team in baseball in the month of April. Danny, that's a shock. That is an absolute shock.
Yeah, especially after we went through that.
And the other thing, I want to
Yes,
tell is
Chardell.
that I'm really excited on how well stacked this team is with Mauricio Dubon and Brandon Belt and Evan Longoria and all these great players on this roster. I think that if we want to, clear this 3-game series and move on to whichever team we're going to be playing next,
I think it's St.
what are your
Louis,
thoughts?
right?
I mean, do you think that we have a chance of sweeping this Rockies team?
Tomorrow, Alex Cobb takes the ball, and it's a quick turnaround. Day game tomorrow. I love the midweek day games. Chardall, have a great rest of your night. Thanks for supporting the Krueg show. Have a phenomenal one.
Chardall, are you still there?
Yeah, he's still there.
I really love supporting the Krueg show, and I'll call into your show anytime I can.
Hey, Chardall, one question before you leave. So I believe I remember you saying that you were going to Buster Posey Day when this sort of little win streak all started, and you said you maybe were gonna, chug some cold ones. I was just wondering how you're doing that on Saturday.
How did that chug come down? I mean, would that happen?
It didn't happen.
All right. Well,
that's okay. But
there's always tomorrow.
It's definitely going to happen when me and my friends go. It will happen, but maybe I'll save that for the World Series if we end up winning the World Series. Maybe I'll save that for that.
Yeah, wearing a Casera t-shirt, a Krueg show tee.
I love that. Chardall's when I was a kid. If I had said that, I would have laughed after. And maybe I'll do that after the Giants win the World Series. Now it's like, hey, they won 3 in 5 years. Next time they win the World Series, I think I'll throw down a few tall, cold ones. Chardall, thanks for listening, bud. Have a terrific night.
So
there you go. Chardall. So anyway, Danny, before we really get deep into the game, I just want to say thanks to you because, Casey's not here, but you are here, and you had an opportunity to do whatever you wanted to market your company and sponsor whatever you wanted, and you reached out to us and became one of our sponsors. So I just want to say thank you for making that choice.
Love it.
Hello?
Rye, get the door. Who's there?
Hello. Could I get your name and where you're calling from?
Yeah, this is Eric from Beale Air Force Base, and I don't know how I follow up Chardall. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
seriously.
That's
Eric, you got your work cut out for you. What's on your mind, Eric?
Hey, I just want to congratulate you on your 4K. That's awesome.
Thank you, man.
All the time when you're on KBR. When I came back from Germany in 2010, that's when I really started listening to KMBR a lot. So I've been a listener there for a while, and I love the YouTube because you don't have that time crunch, for commercials. You can kind of get your thoughts out a lot better, and I just love the conversation that you're able to have, especially with all the guests that you have when you're there with Ryan and Dan. I think you guys do a great job, especially covering the Giants and the Warriors.
There's something really, really cool, and it dawned on me, I think, over the last few days. There's something really cool about the roundtable.
I love it.
The round table, whether, Dan's got his perspective, Ryan's got his perspective, Cyrus's eyes are at half mask. He's got his perspective, it's just like it's a different perspective and we can move it around a little faster. And as you said, we don't have, tons and tons of commercial breaks interrupting the content. So you can sit down and, I've had buddies who are living in other parts of the country who are like, Krug, I would never be up at that time to hear your post game, but I do have some time in the mornings and I catch your guys' show in the mornings and I'm loving it. He's like, dude, I'm listening to it driving to work and I'm listening to it at my desk for the first hour every morning and I'm digging it. And this is a guy who works in Manhattan. So I'm like, you know what? That's the beauty of YouTube is that you can kind of take it and utilize it on your time when you want, when you have time to do it. And if you catch it live, awesome. And you can participate. But if you don't catch it live, heck, I think what a lot of people like is just the roundtable discussion, the kind of the free form of ideas that you can do in a roundtable. And that's what we're trying to get done here.
Yeah, I like that. I like how you just can bounce off people, just get different ideas and interpretations of what's going on. It just makes for a great show, and I really enjoy it.
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate that you enjoy it and they're checking us out, Eric. So what's on your mind about tonight's game? 9-2 Giants. It looked like an old candlestick night, and you heard Krueg and Kipe talking about it. Heck, I'm watching it here in Walnut Creek, California. I'm wrapped in a blanket watching that game. It was so freaking cold. I was sitting there going, man, I bet you Dan Coach Emilio's probably a little warmer than I am right now in the desert. But I mean, it's a cold night in the Bay Area. It's got to be in the 40s tonight.
Yeah, it's got to be a cold one. And hey, how about that? A Giants catcher was producing tonight, which is awesome.
Seriously, a Giant catcher had 3 hits. That I don't know if the Giant catchers have had 3 hits in the last month.
3 for 3.
I don't know if any catchers had 3 hits in the last month. Like,
yeah, exactly.
In the game, seriously.
He just rose.
Yeah, it was awesome.
He's up to 250. Your average moves pretty quick right now.
They need it. They need it, Danny. They need it. They absolutely got it. They have somebody. I mean, it sounds like, well, you're putting too much emphasis on one position, but you can't have 2 catchers who are hitting 120. Because that means you got to play one of them every day, and you can't put you can't put a 120 hitter in your lineup and not feel that. So right now, Casale, I think if you said to me, Casale or Bart, who's got the better chance to hit, based on what I've seen the last 10 days, I'd say Casale.
Casale. Yeah, and like you said, even if they're hitting, like, for example, Ruff, he's hitting on the interstate, but at least he's got his at-bats look better than striking out like Bart has. And another point is, there's 2 catchers there in Sacramento that are actually doing okay. I think one's batting like 284, another one's 304. I think Genovese has a little bit more power than Pareda, but they're doing something in AAA, so maybe that's something they may have to go to later in the year.
Yeah, all I'll say, Eric, about that is just remember Joey Bart hit 294 last year at that same level.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep, gotcha.
So 284 might not be much up here, to be totally honest, but hopefully, hey, you know what? That is going to be something to watch in the days and weeks ahead, is how the catching kind of position evolves this year. Because we know they want to go with Bart, but is Bart going to be able to stay above water to the degree where he can stay in the big leagues? We don't know.
We'll find out a lot tomorrow with a night game with Casale going 3 for 3. And now we got a day game, quick turnaround. Does Gabe go with Bart tomorrow, or does he stick with Casale with the hot bat with a day off on Thursday?
What would you guys do? What do you guys think?
Man,
that's tough.
Oh.
I'll tell you what makes it tough about that. Even though you got the hot hand of Casale, it's like you don't want to bury Bart to where you don't think you could do anything. So now you're kind of playing with a mental game there with Bart. You want him to get his chances, but, you got Casale producing. So it's going to be difficult for Kapler to really figure that one out between those 2.
Yeah, exactly a great point. Just what I was thinking, the same thing there. If he goes with Casale tomorrow after a night game, that could really deflate Joey, because remember, Joey's last appearance was bases loaded, and he pinch hit Jock Peterson for him last night. So if that's a no-show of confidence, which is going to make it even tougher for Joey to kind of get off the schneid. And when he does get his next chance, is he going to go up there with his head down, or is he going to, takes a called strike 3 or swings at another pitch and misses? Is that going to just deflate him more? So I think I'm going to guess and go on a limb and just say that knowing Gabe and how he really tries to believe in his players, I think he'll go with Bart tomorrow.
Interesting. To me, it's all predicated on how his work was on the side today, right? Because clearly they're trying to get him going. And so if they feel like he needs another day or 2 on the side to kind of work through some things that they're trying to make adjustments to, maybe he sits. But Dan, you would think day game after night game, the guy who doesn't start tonight would start tomorrow. I don't know though, because Casale's been in a funk, and 3 hits. He might say, you know what, let's keep him in there and see if we can get him hot, for a week or so. So it's a tough call.
Casale's fresh and he looks good. He looks really healthy this year. I mean,
he's lean. Yeah, he's in great shape.
He did a lot of lifting in the off season. Krueg and Kuip were saying he came into spring training looking as fit and as better than anyone, they said. And I mean, he stood out down here in Arizona with his physique. I mean, he looked really, fit, and he's got a lot of power that he's showed in the past. I think when he was with Cincinnati, of course, that's a Cracker Jack field there.
Great American ballpark is not great or huge. It's a tiny little launching pad.
Yeah, but I'm still in the feeling out stages of what they're going to do. I'm thinking if Bart doesn't get things going within the next few weeks, that they're going to make a move to send him down and try and, I'd like to see him go out and get a left-handed catcher, whether it be, as I mentioned last night, Trevor Barnhart, Murphy with the A's would be something you'd probably have to give up more than for Barnhart. Barnhart's a 31-year-old journeyman at this point. He's not the guy that, he was with Cincinnati. But I'd love to see that platoon lefty righty and get a solid catcher. I don't want to see, I love Stephen Vogt. I love his bat, but he's got a rubber arm behind the plate. You can steal second, third all day long on him.
You can't expect Stephen Vogt to catch every day, and that's the problem. A Brody 7 that donates $5. He says, so if Casale continues to bat and play like this defensively, do we drop Bart to AAA or try to trade for another catcher? And as you can see, A Brody 7, we're discussing that exact topic right now because that's looming. Eric, you got a final thought on your way out the door?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I was just going to kind of piggyback on what Brody was saying. Now, does Bart have options to send down to AAA, or is he out of options?
No, he does have options. He definitely has options. I don't know how many options. That might be something to look up, but he definitely has an option if they want to do it. The question is, where do they go and who do they recall? Because they don't really have a person to recall. They don't have a player that I can think of. And maybe it's just, I don't know. I mean, this is where Farhan's got to unearth something from somewhere, and it's easy for me to say and harder for him to do, but he seems like he's got a knack to do that kind of thing. He finds guys when he, Donovan says, Milt May. Yeah, go get Milt May. I remember Milt May when he used to hold his hands all the way up like that. Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough one.
Hey, guys, also, this is going to be some very homemade, shoddy producing by me, but I really wanted to play Curt Casale's talking to actually the official Giants post-game show after the game. I don't know why, but his answers, they were just very thorough, and he seemed like he was being very honest about like how much, he's like, trying and like, putting into like the advanced scouting and, coming in with like an approach and all this stuff. And so I think I might just go bring my mic over there and just like press play. Is that
on the TV?
On my TV, yeah.
I'm not sure if that's against the rules or not, but
I think it's fine.
If the cops show up in Moraga, I guess we'll find out.
We'll tease that.
This young man, seeing escorted out of his house in this beautiful bedroom community, is now going to jail. His name's Ryan Smith, ladies and gentlemen, and he pirated NBC Sports Bay Area content, and he did not pay for it, and he is now locked up. Eric, we'll let you go, brother. Thanks for chiming in. We appreciate the support, man.
Not a problem. Keep up the great work, and everyone subscribe, hit that bell.
Yeah, there you go. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's so funny that James Foster in the chat, once again, what you were talking about before, Rye. Hit the like button, folks. I mean, that's James, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, I think that anytime people are taking an interest in not just the content, but actually the growth of the channel, I just think that, to me, that's inspiring. A Brody 7 has another comment that I thought was kind of interesting. Wilson Contreras to the rescue. LOL. I mean, man, if they could get Contreras, he's another guy, right, who's not hitting. We saw those numbers. It's not like Contreras is tearing it up, but at this point, I think if you're the Giants, you gotta consider all options because the Giants want to win right now. And not that they don't have patience. They've got a lot of young prospects coming, but they're ready. In some ways they're ready to win right now with the belts and the guys that they have at the major league level. And they probably need another catcher, another catching option to go with what they've got. And I don't know what that option is going to look like. Is it a young guy? Is it an old guy? Is it a prospect? Is it a left-handed hitter? Is it a defensive player like Tucker Barnhart? Is it an offensive player? I don't know. I'm not sure. They definitely need somebody who's going to be able to hit a solid 235, right? I mean, I know that sounds like low expectations, but with the numbers being down in baseball, normally I'd say 250, but 250, heck, if you're hitting 250, you're raking in today's game. So I would say if they could find somebody to pair with Curt Casali who could hit you 230, I'd be happy. What do you guys think?
Totally agree. Yeah, and maybe some better splits against right-handed hitters if it's a lefty. Just a nice little wrinkle just to throw out there. And I mean, God, I don't think we can count on Casali to be here for 162. Just up in the squat.
Casali may be playing himself though into more of a set of. It may flip where Joey was getting 2 games to 1. It was 2/3 Joey, 1/3. Casali in a 3-game series. You may see that flip.
Yeah.
Portola 45 says, can we get Kurt Suzuki from the Angels? I don't know. I mean, does Kurt Suzuki float your boat? I don't know. That doesn't do a lot for me. Kurt Suzuki. What do you guys think? I mean, to me, I'm surprised Kurt Suzuki's still in the bigs, to be honest.
Yeah, like I say, I like a guy like Barnhart who can get some decent hits. He can bat left-handed. It changes if you have another left-handed bat as a catcher that can actually catch as well. I think that's so much more valuable to what the Giants try to do instead of another right-handed catcher that's going to hit basically the same and may just be an average catcher. Casali is a premium catcher, calls a great game. The pitchers love him, and he's got a good arm, all of that. And Bart has shown, I think, outstanding ability to be a catching this year. But the one thing about Contreras, I mean, he's a really good catcher, but I don't know if Contreras fits the Giants clubhouse. He just seems like a guy that, I mean, most of the Giants, they're level-headed guys that don't get too emotional. And Contreras, every time I see him, he's kind of losing it or something, or he's barking up. He just doesn't seem like a typical Giant.
You don't think he's a fit? Well, I'll say he's a fit as a player. I don't know if he's a fit as a personality. Yeah, I don't. That's a good one. It's hard to say. I mean, the Giants. Once upon a time, we had Ned Coletti on a couple of weeks ago, and I asked him about the trade that brought AJ Pierzynski to the Giants, and it was, they liked Pierzynski, and suddenly, they didn't. And it was really because in spring training, he just didn't blend in that clubhouse very well. And I can remember him sitting in the Giant clubhouse, and there were guys that were kind of weren't fans. Guys like Brett Tomko and Matt Herges were just not fans of AJ Pierzynski. And so the Giants non-tendered. Well,
personality sort of.
The talk was that a ball was in the dirt in one of the early Cactus League games, right? And Stan Conti ran out there and said, "How you feeling?" or something like that. And he may have chuckled a little bit because Pierzynski had gotten hit in the private parts. And the game was not on television, but Pierzynski turned and hit Conti in the nuts. And
just like a sack tap? Just like
there was no TV, so I don't know. I never saw it, right? But he hit Conti in the nuts. And all I can remember calling Ned Coletti during the Cactus League, and I'm not down there, and he's down there. And I said, Ned, how's Pierzynski looking, man? How's Pierzynski? And they just acquired him, right? And they had traded Joe Nathan and Booth Bonzer and I think Francisco Liriano were the trade. That was the trade that brought him here. That was a pretty high price tag. And so I was expecting him to say, oh, he looks great, right? Because they got a catcher in his prime who could hit. And he said, you know, Lair, and I can never forget this. He's like, we're not impressed by the presentation. And I said, excuse me? What? Excuse me? You're what? He said, we're not impressed by the presentation. And I said, what does that mean? He's like, I don't want to go into it. He goes, we're just not impressed by the presentation. And I mean, I seriously, I was baffled. And it took me weeks to chase down the actual truth that that's what happened, that he had actually, that wow. Conti had gone out there, asked him how he was doing, and he kind of turned on Conti and gave him a shot to the nuts. And basically the Giants non-tendered AJ Pierzynski at the end of the year. They didn't trade him. He was arbitration eligible. They allowed him to walk away for nothing in return. And you guys remember what happened? That was 2004. Do you remember what happened in 2005? Dan? Do you remember what 2005? He went to the White Sox.
Yes.
They won the whole freaking thing. He was he was the World Series catcher on a team that was totally dominant in October and one of the best October pitching staffs I've ever seen. And AJ Pierzynski was the starting catcher for Ozzie Guillen's White Sox that year, and they won the World Series. So I made so many snide remarks about that through the years. The Giants are the only club in the world that would part with their trainer over a 27-year-old catcher in the prime of his career who could hit. But they did. They loved Stan Conti. They were loyal to Stan Conti, and and then AJ had other issues in the clubhouse with other guys, and his personality didn't fit in. The whole conversation was brought up because some guys just don't fit in. And Danny was suggesting that maybe Contreras would be a guy that wouldn't fit in personality-wise. I'm saying that's possible because we've seen it before.
That's a big thing for the Giants and Gabe is having a clubhouse that is cohesive and everybody buys into their roles. To have the success that they had last year and looks like they're going to be on that path again. Guys have committed to taking roles of, not playing look at Austin Slater, perfect example. Guy doesn't see a bat for almost a whole week, but he's not complaining and he's just getting ready for when that left-hander is going to be on the mound. He's psyched, 3 days before. So, and then he comes up and he hits the ball. Here's another thing, talking about Contreras and nuts. Did you see that play?
I was Dan. I was literally going to say I searched Wilson Contreras on Google because I wanted to look at his stats.
What play you guys talking about?
The head story is Wilson Contreras grabbed Max Muncy's dunk on a wild pitch, and I was going to be like, that is too perfect.
It was crazy.
He's just another dunk grabber.
From when was that?
Sunday Night Baseball.
2 days ago.
Really? Didn't see that. Did not see that.
The ball bounced over toward the first base dugout, and Muncy's just standing in the box, and he's, he doesn't move, so Contreras can run to get to the ball, and Contreras runs around Muncy, and as he runs, he grabs his, right there, right in the crotch, and kind of uses it to swing around him. Look at that.
That ain't right. That's just not right.
Yeah, then you saw Muncy kind of went down like, That
ain't right. That's
the kind of guy. He just seems like he's Dylan Brooks to me.
If you're grabbing nuts, that's where I draw the line. I mean, do you guys remember Reggie Evans in the NBA?
Yeah.
Supposedly he grabbed some guy's nuts from behind. Now we're talking grabbing nuts, by the way. Now he's merged into grabbing nuts. But Reggie Evans grabbed some guy's nuts from behind on a rebound and yanked him Could you imagine jumping for a
that's
rebound and
expensive.
somebody's grabbing your genitalia from underneath? Ouch.
That reminds-
I need like someone to do a documentary on this nut tap from AJ Brzezinski, because like I can't. There's so many different types of nut taps. Like it could have been like a sack tap, like, oh, like, you know, we're buddies and like, I just hit you in the nuts, but like we're cool. Or was it like a malicious?
I don't know if that. I mean, is it if anybody ever hits you in the nuts? Is your response? Hey, we're cool, man. We're cool that way. We're cool like that. J Stamps 101. That's a flagrant too.
Hey,
yes.
you think? Speaking of that, it just reminds me of we're talking playoff.
Wait, what's on Danny Rebel 444? Did Muncie tweet that he broke the code like John Morant? That is awesome.
That's a good one, Rebel. Yeah. Hey, but you know, it just reminds me of that kick of Draymond's into Steven Adams, and you know, you don't see Draymond doing that flailing kick. Like he said, that's just the way I play at the time. I almost think that was intentional.
Oh, of course it was.
I mean,
of course it was.
I mean, he kind of.
You watch it now, like now that the series is over. You know, watch that from way back. It's obvious. Go watch that. I mean, he doesn't kick his foot out a little bit or his leg out. He full on extended his leg. He was no doubt he was trying to kick him in the private parts. No doubt.
That's I don't know, man. I was surprised they didn't suspend him for this. You know, that was you could take a guy's, you know, family life, everything. That's just awful.
How about this one, guys? Sam says, dude, play water polo. That's what the whole sport is. Oh, great. Note to self, don't play water polo.
Oh, God.
The whole sport is grabbing nuts? Really?
Hey,
I'll tell you what, I tried out
the berries. Stay off the berries.
Yeah, I got invited to a water polo like club team. I had never played, but I just swam and, you know, played other sports. And I showed up in my like jammer, and like I was just like ridiculed because like all the guys were wearing Speedos and like just such aggressive Speedos, like cheetah Speedos and stuff. And I was like, I'm like an 11-year-old kid. Like, I don't know. I'm just wearing my jammer. And I just was like, man, I don't know about this vibe. It seems a little nut touchy.
Yeah, then you don't want to be on the bottom.
No thanks on the Speedo, by the way, right? I mean, come on. Yeah. I've heard people, you know, I'm living out here in Walnut Creek in the burbs, you know, like one of the first things you'll see people will say is like, who do you swim for? It's like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm from San Francisco. I swim for Larson Pool on 19th Avenue with a lot of chlorine in my eyes. I mean, who do you swim for?
No,
Who do you swim for? Who do you swim for? I swim to stay alive. You know, I swim away from sharks. I don't know. I don't swim for anybody. And nothing was worse than swim team. And I remember, you know, they're telling these kids, yeah, wear a Speedo. You'll be faster. It's like,
shave your legs.
Come on. Seriously, shave your legs. Wear a Speedo. You know what? Something tells me that I'm not for incremental improvement at that point. At that point, I think I'm going to wear what's comfortable, and I think I'm going to leave the hair on my legs. And if I finish second, well, oh well.
Yeah,
I guess I'll have to have the second place ribbon, you know, and my board shorts instead of my Speedo. No thanks.
Yeah,
nobody wants to see that.
So we went from we really went topic. We went from Wilson Contreras. We're talking AJ Brzezinski.
Yes, AJ Brzezinski punching Stan Conti in the nuts.
To William Contreras, all the way down to from Draymond. Now we're going deeper into swimming Speedos.
Samuel says, yes, under the water, it's mostly guys kicking people off the nuts in water polo.
Hey,
damn, just like a horse, like that, you know, when someone walks up behind it, like you're just slide. I don't even know how that works. You're doing like the egg beater and just kicking nuts.
Don't ever walk behind a horse.
Yeah, don't ever walk behind a horse.
Bad horse.
You know that, right?
You know, water polo player for that.
I mean, you wind up dead. You walk behind a horse. They kick back and you get one of those horse legs. Oh my God, rupture your whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Be a bad day at the office. Hey, what do you guys think of Alex Wood tonight? You see how I segued there? I'm a real pro.
Yeah.
Alex Wood, 5 1/3, worked into the 6, 7 hits, gave up the 1 run. It was unearned. Walked 2, struck out 4. I thought there was like 4 or 5 instances tonight where he got squeezed. At the home plate ump had kind of a, he was trying to work that inside corner, and he wasn't getting those calls. He was not getting the inside corner tonight.
Nope.
Who was the home plate ump tonight?
Bargsdale. Was it Bargsdale? Who was it?
Whoever it was not giving the inside strike to Alex Wood.
Let me look here. I thought I got the box score here. I thought it was Bargsdale. Let me see.
I'll tell you the other guy who I really like this year, and he just comes in and he's just, I love this one. Tony D says Larry swims for River Islands. Yeah, let's get out to Lathrop. No, but Jake McGee still struggling. But the guy who really looks good to me this year is Harleen Garcia. Harleen Garcia, we're in the second week in May right now, and Harleen Garcia has got a 0 point.
Wow.
2 shutout tonight. Struck out a guy. What an under the radar gem he's been. Harleen. Yep. Been incredible.
Yeah. I think he had like 5 or 6 balls and 23 strikes or something like that. I think I remember hearing on the broadcast.
It's funny how Farhan gets these guys. Rebel 444 says, I already miss Junior Marte and can't wait to see Jacob Junis again. Think about that. Did anybody bank on anything if you had called sports radio in March and said, you know what? Kind of like the Giants. Oh yeah. What do you like about them this year? I think they're going to get some good innings out of Junior Marte, and I think Jacob Junis is going to be invaluable. People would have said, excuse me, what? Who? Who are you talking about? What the hell are you talking about? That's Farhan in a nutshell. It's like he gets these guys. Junior Marte was in the minors last year for the Giants. I saw him in was it NBC Sports California, might have been doing some River Cats games. JT Snow and Bonnie Jill Laughlin and were on the broadcast. I saw it last summer. They were doing like Saturday night games. And I caught Junior Marte one day out of the bullpen for Sacramento, and I'm thinking, wow, look at this guy, man. As far as the fastball, breaking ball combo and his ability to change speeds and his ability to run it up there, 95, 96. He looked really impressive. I'm like, why is this guy in the minors? And then so far, I've seen him spotted a couple times in the majors. He looks great. And Junis has been a lifesaver for this team. I mean, to be able to spot start Junis, really, really impressive.
No, I totally agree. I'm loving this whole sort of, it just seems like that's Farhan's vibe, right? It's like, it's the same thing with the Bard, and everybody has to buy into this way of, you don't know if you're going to be playing, you just have to trust, you're going to get your opportunities, and, that's just what that made me think of. And I was thinking, it's really is a good thing that we had that incredible season last year, because it's just, proof of concept, not only for the fans, but also for the players. And I think that, everyone everyone's drinking the Kool-Aid, and that's like the most important thing, I feel like.
Stephen J says, Larry used to love Sam Coonrod. Stephen J, Larry still loves Sam Coonrod. Here's the thing. Giants drafted Sam Coonrod years ago, out of a tiny little town in Illinois. And I had him on like his first year in the organization, and became friends, kept up on him in the minor leagues. Then he was at San Jose. I saw him at a Sharks game. And just a good dude. And then just because, during the whole protest last year, he didn't want to stand on the line. Suddenly, he's like persona non grata, and they traded him to the Phillies, I think, for Carson Ragsdale, who sounds like a pretty decent prospect in his own right in the minor leags. And then Coonrod had good stats last year. Where is Coonrod? Can you look that name up? See if Sam Coonrod's in the bigs. I haven't heard anything about Coonrod. His stuff was awesome. He was like a 6'5", 6'6" guy, ran it up there about 95, 96, had a really sharp breaking ball. More like a 2-pitch reliever. But everybody all of a sudden lost their mind because Sam Coonrod wouldn't do what everybody else was doing. So what? I don't care. Let him do what he wants to do. If he doesn't want, if he didn't feel it, then he shouldn't do it. I mean, don't sit there. I have more respect for people who stand up for what they believe in than just somebody who's doing something because everybody else is doing it. And I don't want to, he's not a bad guy. Sam Coonrod has no hate in him at all. Sam Coonrod was is a good man and just didn't want to, said he was his religious beliefs. I'm not going to question whether what his religious beliefs were or how he felt, but I'll tell you, all these people, Sam Coonrod's a bad guy. Sam Coonrod's racist. Nothing could be further from the truth. And, the Giants moved him to Philly. But it's amazing. It's just because he wouldn't do what everybody else did. Suddenly it was like Coonrod's evil and has to be eradicated from the planet. And he became like public enemy number one. And if you said anything to support Sam Coonrod, if you knew him, if he was your friend, everybody was just going to pile on you. So, I mean, that whole thing made me sick. And he's still with Philly?
Yeah, so what confused me is he hasn't played at all this year. He's been on the 60-day injury. Yeah, he's been injured, strained shoulder.
I think he started earlier in the year. He had 1.2 innings pitched. It shows, and he's given up 3 earned runs. So, his ERA. Hey, are you hearing that in the background? My dog is snoring like crazy. One of my dogs. Are you picking that up?
No.
I just caught it as you were saying it a little bit. Also, what kind
of dog?
It's a lab. I got 2 labs.
Is it a good-looking lab? Is a good-looking lab like that other one, the one that you showed us the other day, the white lab?
Yeah, this one's the red one.
Let's see him. Well, let's see this. Let's see this snoring dog. That's a good-looking animal right there. So did you get them together? Did you buy them at the same time, Danny?
No, got them different times. Yeah.
Do they get along?
Oh, they get along great. Yeah. They got to be together all the time. Yeah.
I'm not really hearing it. I'm not really hearing the dog snore.
If it's too loud, let me know. I'll send her to the other room.
That is awesome.
It's funny. I thought you were going to be like, my wife is snoring on the couch or something.
This dog snores like crazy. It's funny. But hey, looking at as far as the Giants go, Longoria is going to be coming back here probably on
when?
He says he's done with his rehab assignment and he's ready to go. I think he had 18 at bats or something, 7 strikeouts, but the comment was somebody said like he was a little bored down there and really was, he's ready.
I think I did see that. I think was it somebody for the Giants saying, he's not necessarily fired up to be down there.
Right. So
I was in the sporting green.
Yeah, when you're a vet like him and Belt, those guys don't need a lot of at bats to get into a groove in their timing. So, why I bring that up? It's going to be a roster move of a position player, and most likely, unless they pull something with the bullpen and send guys up and down that are maybe aren't going to be used for a few days. Because they pitched them, 2 or 3 straight games or something like that. But I'm thinking, I don't know what they're going to do. Gonzalez is the only guy that has options left.
You can't send him out. He's hitting 330.
No.
I know.
That's the one guy for sure who's not going out.
The only consistent guy that they've had for the past.
He's got a stick, man. And Danny, I'll credit you, man. You were all over Luis Gonzalez early. We talked to you when you were down watching spring training, and you're like, this guy Gonzalez looks good. I looked him up when Farhan signed him because I've now know enough about Farhan to know that when he signs somebody I haven't heard of, it's time for me to do a deep dive. You know what I mean? It's time for me to go research the guy. Why? Because that's how much respect I have for Farhan and his ability to unearth gems. And as soon as they signed Luis Gonzalez, I started looking him up and reading in Baseball America about him and checking out his numbers. And it was pretty clear. the White Sox moved him in a 40-man roster crunch, and Farhan pounced. And this guy's he was used to be a top prospect.
They put him. They took him off the 40, thinking they could sneak him through because he had a torn labrum in his shoulder, and he was rehabbing. And it wasn't available. So it was like, who's going to pick this guy up and pay him to rehab? And Farhan did, knowing that he wasn't available at all last year, but that he would be ready to go this year. And
someone said Vossler could go down instead.
Vossler's not, he's already down, isn't he?
He's already down? Stephen J. Vossler's already down.
I think Vossler's down. I
thought he was back up. We just saw him a couple days ago. You're saying in the last day?
Let me look here. I've got to pull up the.
Your head starts to spin with these roster moves in baseball. It's just unbelievable. Guys are up, guys are down. It's like it's. I'll tell you, that's the one thing. I don't know about you guys. I play fantasy football. I can't play fantasy baseball. My kid plays fantasy baseball, and I'm like, you know what? I got too many other things.
It's just a game of attrition. Really is all it is.
And it's like, who can pay attention to roster moves the fastest? And it's too many moves. It's just too many moves.
Yeah, Vossler's not on it currently.
He's down right now. Okay.
Yeah, is
somebody Kevin Fontana in the chat says Wilmer Flores, I bet, goes on the injured list with his back problem.
Was he? He didn't play tonight? No, he didn't play tonight.
No, but Wilmer's been hitting fourth.
He's been hitting.
And that's the thing. You're going to send down your cleanup hitter? I mean, I would say in the last 10 days or so, Wilmer's probably hit fourth more than anybody else. Now you're going to farm him out, or not farm him out. I guess he would be on the injured list.
How long is he? When did he hurt his back?
I know there was a reference to it a couple days ago, but I'm not sure exactly where he hurt his back.
Okay.
But that's it's amazing, all the moves and how, you have to be on top of it. It's a day-to-day thing. And, guys are up, guys are down. That's why if you look at Farhan, the one thing that I think he has done really, really well that nobody talks about at all, nobody ever talks about it, is when other GMs get to their roster, they pack their roster with guys on major league deals. The one thing Farhan has done consistently with the Giants is he's made sure that he's got flexibility, because the guys at the back end of the roster are, he doesn't have 25 guys on major league deals. He has more like maybe 18 guys on major league deals. And so that means he's got flexibility because he's got guys on minor league deals that he can send back and forth. And I think last year there was no limit to how many times you came up and down. I think this year they did limit it, so he's a little bit more hamstrung than he was a year ago. But I mean, that roster flexibility is a big part of being able to get the advantageous lineups, going on a day-to-day basis, because you can mix and match because you got guys with options and you got moves that you can make. Romo 2001 makes a donation here, guys. He says it was reported Evan Longoria hurt his finger last August. Why was that injury not addressed in the offseason? It's a bad look not being healthy for spring training.
I
go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, I had the same question. We talked about that early on in spring training. It's like, how do you not know your finger's hurting? I guess he kind of aggravated it a little bit in coming up into spring training, and he thought he could, it would be fine, but he did something with it, and it was really bothering him with throwing. That's when he started throwing a little bit more. It got worse, and so that's the reason for that. But I think
Longoria helps them so much defensively. That's the thing. I mean, when you have Longoria, you're pretty much locked down on the left side of that infield with Crawford, and really the way Estrada has played second, and as good a defensive player as Casali can be. I would say the Giants infield are almost as good as anybody's when Longoria is in there. When you go Longoria, Crawford, Estrada, Belt, and Casali, that's a pretty good, good infield right there.
Defensive infield, and I think with Dubon, what I said last week when he wasn't even playing, I said I want to see the Giants play him like the Dodgers do with Chris Taylor, and Taylor goes to left field, he'll go to center field, he'll play short, he'll play third, he'll play second, and we're starting to see that in the last 4 or 5 games. He's played center field, shortstop, second base, and tonight he played third. And man, that guy's got a cannon.
Oh, he does. He's got a tremendous arm. He really does.
And, he's getting confidence. I personally, as I look at him, I see a version of Chris Taylor that has more speed and a better arm. And Gabe was saying yesterday, after he hit that second home run over the center field wall, that last year in Texas, I believe it was, he was up there in batting practice with the big boys, on the team.
Right.
And he said he was keeping up with all those guys. He says he's got power. He's just not quite as, you don't see it as much. But if he can unleash some of that power and, hit the ball hard and with his speed, he makes things happen. I'd hate to see him give up on him right, at this point, because a guy like him can, he can move all over the place. And
on this team where they're promoting guys, sending guys down, and the roster's constantly in flux, and they love versatility, a guy like Dubon should be up all year. He really should be. I mean, I know I've been all over the map on the guy because sometimes he's made some of the most mind-numbingly frustrating base running mistakes, like he's just took up the game a week ago. But that aside, look what he is. He's got skills. He's got foot speed. He's got bat speed. He's got power. He's got a tremendous arm. He can play center field. He can play second base. He can play shortstop. He can play third base. It's a pretty valuable player, really a pretty valuable player to keep up on whatever role he's in.
I mean, there's really no one on the team quite like that. Estrada would be probably the closest, but Dubon's got better range as an outfielder. Estrada, you can only really stick out in left field. They use Mauricio for late inning center field defensive replacement and put him out in center, which says quite a bit. That means they think they want him in there in a tight game in the 8th or 9th inning.
The guy that I love watching is Thairo Estrada. He looks really good to me. In fact, Matthew Mears says Estrada's been making plays in the field all year. He deserves to be the starter. Well, he is. He's the starter at second base, isn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, I consider him the starter.
Look what he's doing. He's hitting.
He's got thunder. He's got great wrists. He's got a lot more power, than you would think for a little guy. And, once upon a time, Thairo Estrada was in the Yankees' top 10 prospects.
Yeah.
I mean, he was thought to be a guy who was going to be, a fixture in the Bronx for years. And it just didn't happen. The Giants made the trade. How did they get Estrada? What did they trade for? Do you remember what they traded for Estrada?
I don't know. Was he a cash consideration?
I'm looking it up.
It might be cash. Yeah, I mean,
I don't recall anybody going any big name that
Wandy Peralta. No, it was Wandy Peralta, according to Rebel 444, the lefty power arm.
Wandy Peralta, but that's
But the Giants were pretty loaded with lefty power, lefty arms in the bullpen, so that was probably a win-win for the Yankees, win for the Giants.
Yeah, so I wonder what they're going to do with McGee, because you can't use him in any pressure situations right now. You can't use him really in a tight game in the 7th inning. They've been trying to work his mechanics out the last 2 nights in the 9th, and he got really hit hard last night. And then tonight, someone hit a triple off of him, and then another, I don't know if it was a sac fly or I can't remember if it was a sac fly hit deep or if it was it was a fly ball to deep center that Slater caught, a little bit before the warning track. But I mean, gosh, you're just bringing him in to get guys out, and he's not even getting guys out. I mean,
Fable JVC is recalling a anecdote that Buster, when the Giants played the Yankees, kind of commented to the Giant people about Estrada saying, man, he's going to be pretty good. And the Giants were playing a series in the Bronx, and Buster made that comment. By the way, Buster said he's going to have some role with the Giants. What role do you think Buster's going to man?
Pinch hitting.
Yeah. That'd be great. Buster's back. He's just going to pinch hit. Hey, we saw Ty Block tonight. It was good to see Ty Block. Ty Block is from Denver.
Yes.
How about that? He's playing for his hometown team. I always liked Ty Block, man. I interviewed him a bunch of times, and I just had a chance to talk to him out on the patio a few times through the years. And I just, just a decent guy. And remember the way he outdueled Kershaw in a couple of those games. And did he hit one out off Kershaw? Ty Block, did he ever hit a home run off Kershaw?
I think he did. And I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure he did. See, Bat's right-handed. I know he got a key hit at least.
Yeah. Samuel, by the way, says, I thought it was Wandy for Talkman. I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that.
I read cast considerations, but sometimes those things, it gets the prospect.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I think it was Wandy. Chris Young says it was Wandy for Talkman. And I think it was Tyro for Cash.
I thought that Tyro was Cash. Yeah.
Tyro was Cash. So we stand corrected.
Very good.
Or as Tolbert used to say, as a man with orthopedic shoes, I stand corrected. I texted Tommy T because his Angels, who have not had pitching for freaking ever, got over tonight. You see the lefty, the 22-year-old lefty, Reed Detmers, threw a no-no for the Angels tonight against the Rays. Yes, this was far and away the game of the night, guys. Not only did Reed Detmer throw the no-hitter, Angels win 12-0. Trout goes deep not once but twice. It was the 12th no-hitter in franchise history. But the other one was that in that blowout game, Brett Phillips, the former Brewer, who's now in Tampa, I believe, was pitching. They had a position player on the mound, and Anthony Rendon goes up there, and we were just talking about Rendon yesterday.
Yes.
Do we have it?
Here we go. Rendon's a right-handed hitter.
I know. You opened it up with the lefty, and I was like, I thought you were going to say the lefty, the young lefty, Anthony Rendon.
Yeah, Rendon, who's a right-handed hitter, took an at-bat against a position player. It was his first career at-bat left-handed.
He was 0 for 4, too, before that.
0 for 4 in the game?
Yeah.
So he's 0 for 4 in the game. He's having a cold start. He's never batted left-handed. He's in the major leagues. Now, granted, he's going up against a position player. Are we going to see the video here, or are we going to get in trouble if we put the video?
Oh, no. It's fine. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, here, show the video. Here we go. This is Anthony Rendon going yard against Brett Phillips. Rendon's a right-handed hitter, ladies and gentlemen. Here he is from the left side.
Anthony Rendon with a 2-run home run. I mean, you cannot make this up. Oh, this is one of those oh me, oh my moments.
Oh me, oh my.
That is awesome. So he gets into the box as a left-handed hitter, and he gets a ball down and in. What is it about down and in to a lefty? It's like every left-handed hitter ever.
He looked like Bellinger there.
It's like that's their hot spot. It's funny. My oldest son's a lefty, and I used to pitch to him. And seriously, if you throw a lefty a pitch down and in, it's like their happy zone. Down and in to a left-handed hitter and just golf it out routinely. You can go down and into a right-handed hitter, and Wilmer Flores will golf a few out. There aren't too many right-handed hitters that hit the down and in pitch. Like that's not the hot zone like it is for lefties. Why is that? Why is lefties, if you pitch them down and in, almost like 9 out of 10 lefties down and in, you're throwing it right to their hit me zone and they crush it?
I think it has something to do with the way their swing. It just it sweeps more than it seems like it sweeps more than a right-hander, because a right-hander is kind of swinging in on your, towards your belt, but a lefty kind of can get it out, extended, and golf it more. See, I don't know. I've tried hitting left-handed, never successful at it.
I mean, is it partially just that the way it looks? Because like, you know how like when you see, like a lefty throw a football and you're just like, oh, that's so cool. Like it always looks really cool no matter what with lefties, except for Tua.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's like just a swag to it. Like I'm just thinking Ken Griffey just golfing one out.
Lefties, man, don't pitch them down and in. That's their hit me zone. A couple other things I want to mention tonight that aren't necessarily on our list, but I had a chance when I was, years ago, maybe, God, I forget exactly what year it was. I was at the Warrior game, and their coach was Bob Lanier. The late Bob Lanier passed today. The NBA announced the passing of a legend. Big man.
Her daughter, or his daughter, was on my sister's volleyball team.
Really?
Yeah, USC.
He was famous for wearing size 19 shoes.
Yeah.
19. Now, I thought my dad had big feet. My late father's used to have size 15 feet, right? My brother is got like size 14. I've got size 13. You can find shoes in 13. Once you start getting to 15 and above, forget it, man. It's almost like good luck finding a shoe.
Yeah.
And if you got size 19, I mean, those are like skis.
Larry, he was actually 22, size 22.
Size 22?
What?
Yeah. Check
size
it out.
22? Oh my
Size
God. Maybe I'm
22.
confusing him with Shaq.
Yeah.
Maybe Shaq wore 19.
Jesus.
Yeah.
22.
22.
Yeah, I mean, that's just, there's not even a store. Like I have 13s and it's like, most places maybe have like one or two in the back that, in limited colors, but at least they have them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Matthew Mears says, I wear size 15. Look at that. New respect for Matthew Mears, everybody. I want everybody in the chat to know Matthew Mears wears size 15. Yes. So anyway, 22 though, that's crazy.
That's
the
crazy.
other thing I want, and I had a chance to meet Bob Lanier one time, just couldn't have been nicer. And he was a hell of a player. Danny, you probably saw him more than either Rye or I, but he was a tremendous player with the Bucks.
He was, before that, he was with the Pistons for years.
Yeah.
And he was something. Yeah. A lefty. Him and kind of, back in the era with Nate the Great Thurman and
wasn't he coached by Dick Vitale one of those years? Wasn't Vitale the coach for the Pistons, I believe? Pre-Bad Boys, of course. Yeah. This is all pre-Bad Boys in the 70s.
But, he was a great player. And you mentioned volleyball, Ryan. My good friend of mine, his daughter, I think, went to school with Bob Lanier's daughter. Yeah.
I mean, that tracks. From
Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's freaky how athletic those girls are. It's so big and so athletic. Crazy.
Our thoughts go out to Bob Melvin, the manager of the Padres. Padres are off to a pretty good start. He's having prostate surgery on Wednesday. Now, they don't know if it's cancerous. He says they got to go in there and find out. But our thoughts, go out to Bo Mel. And it's just a reminder that, get checked, right? Get checked, because that's one of those deals. If you can get checked ahead of time, they say a lot of that stuff's preventative. So, but our thoughts and prayers go out to Bob Melvin, who, what do you guys think right now? Here we are. It's, May the 10th. What do you think about the division? The Giants right now, as the standings sit, looks like the Dodgers are 20-8. They got a 1.5 game lead on San Diego. They got a 3-game lead on the Giants, 5 on Arizona and Colorado. It's a tightly grouped division right now. Padres have gotten off to a little bit better start than I thought. But, man, you got 3 teams in this division playing 600 ball or better. Dodgers are playing 714 baseball right now. Is it, you expect San Diego to hang all year?
I think so this year with Melvin, and they're doing it right now without Fernando Tatis. So I think they're going to be they're not going to fall apart, in my opinion, like they did last year under, was it Tesla? What was the manager's name, Sandy? I forget his name. Tesla or Tigler or what?
Jace Tingler.
Tingler. Yeah. I mean, he lost that clubhouse so bad last year. they gave up, and he had that's not going to happen under Melvin. And so, I mean, they were right in it all the way into August, and then they just fell apart. So I think the fact that they're playing at a 645 clip right now, 20-11, they got Clevenger back. They've got Yu Darvish, and they got Blake Snell. Is Snell down right now, or I'm not sure if he's.
I don't know if he's down.
I haven't followed the Padres as much as far that close, but Manny Machado's hitting 379 with 7 homers. His slugging percentage is 629 right now. His OPS must be, I don't even see what that is. Must be over 1,000 at this point.
Yeah, have they been playing a lot of just really close games, or have been the games they've lost they've gotten blown out? Because it's just a little weird. They're 20-11, which is an excellent record. Means they're kind of dominating, and they only have a +10 differential.
Snell is still in AAA, according to Steven.
Okay. Yeah.
And by the way, Danny, Clarence Beeks has weighed in. Dan, relax. That's Clarence Beeks. It wouldn't be a post-game show unless somebody chimed in with a relax. Every 5th or every 20th chat in the chat strand, there's got to be a relax. Guys, relax. Hey, speaking of relax, did you guys catch Yankees Jays tonight? Or it was Yankees. Was it Yankees Toronto? Yankees are off to an incredible start. They win 6-5. Judge went deep. They're 21-8. 3-run shot for Judge in the 9th. But Yimi Garcia, after a home run in this game, threw a pitch that hit a Yankee player. It didn't seem to be on purpose. The umps came out and huddled and ejected the guy just because the guy prior had hit a home run and Garcia then plunked the next guy. But I don't know. I mean, you can look at it yourself. To me, it didn't seem like it was an intentional deal. I
can't with all, like, just between the NBA playoffs, and I just can't with all this intent and ascribing and getting in people's minds, and the injury and suspension and controversy and fan base getting mad at each other. It's just, I'm sick of it.
By the way, Steve Kerr does have COVID, and Mike Brown will be coaching tomorrow night in the Warrior game as the Warriors try to put away Memphis. I want to see Memphis put away. Enough of Memphis. And Ja Morant's got a bone bruise, so he's done for the year for sure.
Yeah.
I want to see the Warriors step on Memphis's throat and just finish it. As the sensei said in The Karate Kid, sweep the leg. It's time for the Warriors to sweep Memphis's leg right here.
I am so irritated that Ja and Memphis and Taylor Jenkins is still blaming Jordan Poole for how could that little tap on his knee gave him a bone bruise? Are you kidding me?
I mean, come on. I mean, don't insult our intelligence,
I mean,
seriously.
You know what? I've been listening to, because I was interested to hear like the Memphis perspective. Because there's a couple Memphis basketball guys I actually like their like podcasts and whatnot. And so I was listening to what they were saying, and they were kind of describing it like, because I know like I'd probably spin zone it too if this happened with us. But they were kind of like, it's not as much like that Ja actually like thinks that Jordan Poole did anything, or it's more that it's just they feel. They're a little inexperienced, and they feel weird about like the way Steve Kerr kind of went out, and they feel like he was being a little like self-righteous and like preachy about like, and it's like they're or whatever, like about them being dirty. And then it
was an elbow to the temple of a guy in the air that ended his season and caused him to have reconstructive elbow surgery. Live with it.
I agree, but I think for Ja, I don't think Ja's like being like intellectually dishonest. I think it's more like, hey, like everyone's against Dylan Brooks. Like I'm gonna show Dylan Brooks that like I'm with it. It's like some sort, that's sort of their perspective. At least I was trying to figure it out. Also, a lot of the national guys, I'm hearing like they're not, their takeaway is the exact opposite of Cyrus. Their takeaway is that like Memphis and Golden State is like this is like the weak side of the Western Conference bracket, and that like these are, the Mavericks and Suns, or like whoever wins that is going to end up beating
Really?
Warriors or Grizzlies. Yeah, like that the Grizzlies are really not all that good. I mean, I don't agree with Cy that like this is our biggest test at all.
No, I don't either. Suns, I think, will be tough. I mean, I don't care who comes out of the East. I don't care if it's Heat or Bucks or Celtics. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be the Sixers. Did you see the Sixers tonight?
I know, and everybody was saying that
destroyed.
It's like people need to write a reminder down to themselves every year around this time, because everyone, it's like somebody wins 2 games at home, and then it's like, oh my God, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a sweep. I wouldn't be surprised if this is 5 games. Then the weekend happens, that team wins both their games at home because of desperation, and it's like, I don't know, I think they figured something out, and then everyone's picking Philly to win it, and I'm just like Miami's going to take care of business. They're desperate now. They're at home. Phoenix is going to take care of business. They're desperate. They're at home. It's just the way the playoffs work.
2 blowouts tonight. 2 big blowouts.
Huge blowouts. 120-85. Miami got over on Philly. I mean, they just absolutely wiped Philly up. And then 110-80. Phoenix beats Dallas. I expected Miami and Phoenix to win those series. I'm a little surprised that they were both at 2-2 coming into tonight. I'll tell you, tomorrow I think is a absolute one of the biggest games of the playoffs. Bucks Celtics. That's a 2-2 series going back to Boston for Game 5. If Boston gets that win, I don't know, guys. I mean, I like the Celtics' chances of, if they can go 2 for, that means the Celtics will have the Bucks at the brink, and the Bucks will go home for Game 6 and then back to Boston for Game 7. I like Boston. To me, the winner of tomorrow night wins the series. Would you agree?
I don't know about that. Just the problem is like, okay, let's say Boston wins tomorrow, even convincingly. If the Bucks can pull it out at home, and they probably will have the whistles on their side, they're going to have a crazy crowd, and they're going to be, super motivated. It's just, I almost feel like the pressure becomes on the Celtics, because it's like, oh, you had them, your foot over their neck. You could have just taken them out. And now we're going back to Boston, where you're expected to win and close this thing out. And if you don't, it's going to be embarrassing. You're going to get ripped by all the talking heads. And
with side that I think the loss of Middleton, the deeper the series goes, the effect of that is going to catch up to him, because, he's an all-star, and they're missing that guy. And, Boston with Williams back and down low, they are scary defensively. They are really good. And they pose a big problem, I think, for the biggest problem would be Boston with the Warriors, because they're long, they're athletic, and they play really good.
They're in their prime. Jaylen Brown's in his prime. Tatum's in his prime. Smart's healthy.
In his prime.
It's funny, Stephen J says, as a Celtics fan, I want Ime Udoka fired in mid-December.
They all did.
I mean, wow. That's phenomenal, as Boston's on the verge of knocking off, the Bucks potentially. I don't know. To me, that one's going to be really interesting to see. I think Celtics, to me, look really good. We've got this one. Jimmy Plant says Celtics in 7, Warriors in 5. Yeah, I definitely like the Warriors to finish it out. Did you guys see what Tom Brady got today to do something he's never done before? $375 million on a 10-year deal. It's the most lucrative contract in the history of sports broadcasting in America, probably on the globe, and not just in America. But he's going to join Fox. I mean, we don't even know if he's any good. I mean, here, let me ask you guys this. To me, I love Tom Brady. I'm a huge Tom Brady guy. Tom Brady's a Bay Area guy. I interviewed him on the field down at Stanford when he came out for the East-West Shrine game when he came out of Michigan, and I've been a Brady fan ever since. To me, he's a really good guy, and obviously the great one. I'm not going to say the greatest quarterback of all time, because out of respect for Joe Montana, but you know what? He is among the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And I know people say, oh, come on, Krug, don't die on that hill. Well, you know what? I'm dying on that hill. I don't understand this contract, Danny. I don't, and Ryan, because people don't, I don't know about you. I don't tune in. I don't say, man, I got to see that game. And then you say, why? And I say, oh, are you kidding me? It's Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth, I got to see. I mean, I love Krueg and Kipe, right? I think Krueg and Kipe are the best. I never go, man, I got to watch the Giants. Why? Because I got to get Krueg and Kipe. I love Krueg and Kipe once I'm there. Don't get me wrong, but I don't tune in for Krueg and Kipe. I tune in to see the Giants. And the NFL is incredibly popular. People they're going to tune into the NFL if Ryan Smith, Larry Krueger, and Dan Coachemilio were on the broadcast. These numbers that the NFL has are massive. So what is the purpose of giving Tom Brady $37 million a year to be a broadcaster? How are you making that back? I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. Why would you? Is it for attention? Why would you? Don't tell me that Tom Brady, the difference between the number of people that would watch as opposed to the number of people that will watch because of Brady, don't tell me that equates to $37 million a year. It doesn't. There's no way it does.
No. So what you're saying, Larry, is they could have saved $37 million and maybe signed Gino Carmazza for $1 million a year?
What I'm saying is somebody needs to tell me, relax. Just relax. All right.
Steve, man, the 49ers had him. He's a better quarterback than Brady.
Gio Carmazzi. Oh, my God. The Niners drafted 2 quarterbacks in the Brady draft. I mean, seriously, in some ways, it is I know everybody loves Mooch and Mooch, and everybody loves Mooch. Some ways, that's Mooch's legacy. Him and Greg Knapp, who obviously poor Greg Knapp, but he's a Sac State guy. I love Greg Knapp. Loved Greg Knapp, I should say. But in a lot of ways, their legacy was tied to that draft. They were both offensive coaches, quarterback gurus. Greg was a quarterback at Sac State. Mooch was, thought to be an offensive genius of some kind. And they passed Tom Brady. Now, everybody else did too, but not everybody took 2 quarterbacks in the draft. The Niners took 2 quarterbacks in the Brady draft and didn't draft the guy in their own backyard who basically was a season ticket holder who they talked to before the draft. It's amazing.
Come to San Francisco.
He would have paid his own way probably to be a Niner. He would have been doing cartwheels to be a Niner, and he was 6'5", and he had led Michigan back in the Orange Bowl, I believe, against Bama in the bowl game, and they still didn't see it. It wasn't
not as bad as Dan Marino and the Steelers. Him being in Pittsburgh, and he was like a legitimate Brady fell. Yeah, everyone knew Marino was going to probably be awesome.
There was marijuana whispers and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, and back then that meant so much. Yeah. And it was like, oh my God, you can't possibly draft this guy.
So now
now they're going for Ricky. Now they're going for Pickett. Because because he's the Pitt guy. They're going to right that wrong decades later with Pickett.
I don't think that one works out.
Kenny Pickett.
Hey, I've got a report. It looks like Fox is disputing it a bit. So it says Andrew Marchand of the New York Post, a publication owned by Murdoch's news company or corporation, reported on Tuesday that Fox will pay Brady $375 million on a 10-year deal that commences when he retires from playing football. Via Marchand, a Fox spokesman who has generally taken issue with the accuracy of the reporting regarding Brady's deal. What has been reported isn't an accurate description of the deal, and we have not released details beyond what was disclosed on our quarterly earnings call, Fox corporate spokesman Brian Nick said. So I wonder if they're just trying to drum up their stock price. They're like, all right, it's the quarter's ended. Let's we got to get some big news out here. Let's pump it up with talking about this crazy Brady deal. We got Brady.
But do you guys understand the whole why would you pay Tony Romo? Why would you pay Tom Brady?
I would pay Tony Romo. I felt like people he was actually trying to do this, and I heard stories about Jimmy Kimmel once you just sat and watched him play Madden, and he just did his own commentary on it for 5 hours straight, and it was one of the most incredible things. Like, I think he has chops. Brady just sound like, I think maybe Brady's like, you know what, maybe being home with the family, like I said, maybe that isn't quite what it's cracked up to be.
Everybody was saying that, oh man, Tom Brady doesn't like his family. He's come on. But as far as I don't understand. I mean, what does it do for you? Does it give your network a cachet? It seems like a massive waste of cash. These games are going to get high ratings no matter what. Has anybody ever perused the NFL ratings? The ratings are through the roof.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing the NFL can do to kill itself. It's like the most indestructible sport in America. It's like it's the biggest lock. I think the top 25 highest rated TV shows of 2021 were all NFL games. Yes. I mean, the NFL's got a massive audience and it's growing by leaps and bounds by the minute. You don't need to pay any announcer $37 million a year. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's like the game. They've got everybody's captive already. It's not like it used to be years ago when it was NBC and CBS and they wouldn't even promote each other. Now they all promote one another. They promote the league, not the networks.
Right. Have you ever tuned in for an announcer? Ever?
The only time I will say.
Tell me honestly, the time that you've tuned in or tuned out. Either way, tuned in or tuned out.
The Brady Manning cast this year, when there were blowouts on Monday Night Football, I enjoyed.
Okay, but that was like a new thing. That was
right. I think that will be the same thing. It'll be really big for the first 5 weeks because there's going to be able to get content out of it. But after that wears off, I feel like it's kind of a big downside for Brady because he could just retire as the perfect guy, perfect quarterback who everyone loves. People love Tony Romo. I love Tony Romo, but there is even a backlash on Tony Romo. Like, all right, Tony, let's chill out a little bit, bring down the energy a little bit, let the broadcast breathe. And he's fun. Some people find him annoying. I bet people are going to think that because Brady's gotten a little wacky in his elder years. I think that tends to happen to quarterbacks and actors.
Rebel 444 says, well, I've listened to Brady over Joe Buck and Troy Aikman all day, every day. All right. But my point is, does anybody tune in for the announcers in any sport? I was thinking about this today. The only one I came up with, Howard Cosell, Monday Night Football. Howard Cosell. People tuned in to see Howard Cosell's halftime highlights. Now, granted, that was before ESPN. And before highlights and before cell phones and before everything could be, had just like on your phone. It was also like your national respect. Are you getting national respect? It was proven if Howard Cosell recapped your game on Monday Night Football, you were officially respected. If he didn't, you were disrespected. And so that was the kind of barometer for respect in America for your football team.
Well, I think
so that was part of it.
Yeah,
go ahead, Danny.
That was my answer. Was when
Cosell?
Was Cosell, Dandy Don, and Frank Gifford. Wearing their yellow coats and in the Monday Night Football. I mean, it was a big thing to have those guys travel. And here's another one that the great John Madden was a guy that I loved to. I would tune in for Madden even if I didn't care about the game because he was so entertaining.
That's a great call. If there were two games on, and there were, right? The 10 a.m. West Coast time slot, the 1 p.m. West Coast time slot, those are the two time slots. And if there was a Fox game, let's say the Niners played at 1 o'clock, and this happened many, many Sundays. The Niners played at 1 o'clock, and you're getting ready and you're watching TV in the morning. Back then, if it was Madden and Summerall on the NFC game, the AFC game with whoever they had was always seemed, like second rate. It's Todd Christensen or whoever they had. McGuire, I think was who was it? The McGuire who was doing the games for a while. He was on there for a while. But my point is just like you might have chosen Madden and Summerall at that point in history over the CBS crew. Over the I guess they were Fox They were
Yeah.
CBS and then Fox over the NBC crew, I should say. So you would pick Madden and Summerall when they were at CBS or Fox over the NBC counterparts, sometimes just based on Madden and Summerall were that good. But
Right.
man, that's a long time ago now. I mean, and when it comes to, somebody here said Gus Johnson is a great announcer. I mean, it's all, it's a subjective thing. I don't want to get into who's good, who's not good, because they're all damn good, really. But for the most part, like, I'd much rather, like, if I could choose Krueg and Kuip, I would, if the Giants are on and there's a Krueg and Kuip option, there's no doubt. You're going Krueg and Kuip. Why? Because these guys know your club. And because they know your club, they have anecdotes about your club. And if you watch the broadcast, at the end of the broadcast, you know more. So why wouldn't you want to listen to Krueg and Kuip, right? Because you're going to find out more data about your team. But like as the season progresses and they mix in a YouTube game and here's, Jeremy Affeldt, I don't look at it like, oh, this is terrible. I'm like, hey, you know what? It's a different perspective. I'm listening to Krueg and Kuip every night. Now tonight it's Affeldt and somebody else. I like it for a night. Now tomorrow night I want Krueg and Kuip back, but for one night I like Affeldt and a different crew. Why not?
And you're going to get that on the road because Krueg and Kuip aren't traveling. So you're going to get Affeldt, you're going to get Sean Estes, you're going to get Javi Lopez. I like listening to Javi Lopez. I think he's really improved a lot.
Oh, he's great. Javi's great.
Yeah,
I liked Affeldt too. I thought Affeldt was really glib and fun.
He's funny. He's a good guy. Yeah, he's hilarious. When he
that one broadcast though, was it when
the Apple TV one?
Was it Peacock?
Apple TV.
Oh,
last year when the Giants played the Phils, we got it was like 4 announcers, right? It was Krueg and John, and then we got Kruk and Rollins.
Yeah, you got John Kruk and Jimmy Rollins.
Wasn't it a 4-man booth?
Yes,
I thought it was a 4-man booth.
Yeah, 2 Phillies.
And I didn't mind that for a day, but I wouldn't want that for more than a day. Let's just say that.
Right.
And
the worst one was a week or 2 ago. They were playing they got beat pretty bad. It was one of their first games.
Apple TV game with
it was Apple
was on there.
Who was on there?
Hunter Pence, I think.
Pence, and then they had some.
Oh, that's right. They brought him garlic fries.
Yeah, they had the woman
booth.
That was
Pence. I love Hunter Pence as a guy, but he doesn't do it for me as an announcer.
Yeah. The woman announcer actually was laughing and had a snort of her nose while she was talking. And someone said, "Did you just snort on that?"
Javi Lopez, by the way, I've said this to him like five or six times. I'm like, Javi, you're the Mo Berg of 2022. Do you guys know who Mo Berg was?
I don't.
Mo Berg, I can see Ryan going to the Google. Mo Berg was a backup catcher who they said was a spy. And we used to go to like White House state dinners and like traveled with a camera in Japan and had a tuxedo in his locker. And he was like he was like the smartest guy in baseball back in the day, Mo Berg.
I was looking him up, Mo Berg. Wow.
Mo Berg, yeah. But Javi Lopez is I think Javi's terrific. Now I don't need hijinks. I don't need you. I don't need you to light yourself on fire or do anything crazy. I like an easy listen. Just somebody who's an easy listen and who's smart and who knows the game and doesn't have any kind of an agenda of any kind, and he doesn't have any kind of I don't need a crutch phrase or a crutch this or a crutch that. I like Javi because he's kind of a straight shooter. He's a giant. He's obviously very smart. University of Virginia. Stephen J says Mo Berg, born in 1902, died in 1972. The Sports Century piece on Mo Berg was like unbelievable. I mean, this guy was, the fact that this guy was a baseball player in name only. Really an interesting story. But yeah, everybody's got their favorites when it comes to announcers. But to me, I like Javi because to me, Javi's very simple. He's understated. He knows the game. Like when he's on with Krueg or Kuip, they've got great respect for him. He's grounded. He doesn't say crazy stuff. He's got great perspective, great stories. I like Javi. He's not gonna wow you. If you heard him once, you wouldn't go, "Oh God, this guy's awesome. He's a superstar." But like if you catch him for like 3-4 games in a row, all of a sudden you're like, "Yeah, you know what? This guy's growing on me. He's really good, really good."
When you talk about announcers, the Bay Area has been so blessed and fortunate to have some of the greatest of all time. I mean, we had Lon Simmons with the Giants and 49ers, Bill King.
Don't forget Wayne Walker. How great was Wayne Walker?
Yeah, Channel CBS, was that Channel 5, wasn't it?
He was the anchor on 5. He did Niners games as well on the radio, I think, with Don Klein. Wayne Walker was awesome. Yeah, he was awesome. Bill King,
Raiders and Warriors.
Yeah. And A's.
Did the A's for a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Hank Greenwald.
Yeah. Lon Simmons. And then, of course, we got, John Miller, Dave Fleming now, and Krueg and Kipe. I mean,
you can't beat that. You can't beat that. I kind of think Glenn Kuiper's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, with the A's, Glenn Kuiper. But I just love Kipe.
Rusanowski.
High drive.
Who's that?
Kipe. High drive.
Oh, Kipe. Everybody loves Kipe. Everybody loves Kipe for sure. This was interesting. Before we get out of here, on TNT, Kenny Smith said that Chris Paul's mother, Robin, reached out to explain what happened with the young Dallas fan the other night when we were wondering what was going on there. Yeah. She said that the fan was obviously drunk and kept tapping her on the shoulder and wishing her happy Mother's Day, even after she politely asked him to stop.
Oh, he was in.
All right. Okay, so if that is indeed the case, why is Chris Paul threatening a 15-year-old? Yeah. And people made it seem like this fan assaulted the mother.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If he really was saying Happy Mother's Day, then he's an overzealous drunk. Now, I'm not endorsing the behavior, but I don't know that I would say we're going to meet up later. I don't know if I'm threatening a 15-year-old if that was really how it. I mean, that to me is a lot less than what I thought we were going to hear when we got some details. How about you guys?
I'll bet you at 15, he probably wasn't drunk. He was probably immature, and he's laughing at Chris Paul having a crappy game, fouling out early, and their team's getting blown out, and he's probably sitting behind her and tapping and going, Happy Mother's Day, just like a 15-year-old would probably, like I might have acted at 15.
A young Dan Cochimilio.
Yeah, I could see if I'm Chris Paul and you factor in the night, going, basically 2 games in a row going as bad as they possibly could for me. If I somehow see my mom or she's, and it looks like she's getting bugged by someone and, I bet he didn't have the full story is what I would guess. And I think he probably just overreacted a bit, but I can kind of understand it. I mean, I know when the kids that live near me in their apartment, all of a sudden, they'll just be knocking on my door and trying to give me cookies. And then they're trying to they're just trying to get me involved in their schemes and whatnot. And I'm just kids, I'm sorry, but it actually gets pretty annoying. And I'm just that's kind of what that made me think of. If she just was actually getting really bugged, especially if he was drunk and a 15-year-old drunk.
I don't think he's probably drunk. I can't imagine if he's,
15.
He's not drinking. Can't be.
Yeah. I mean, who knows?
But you don't want to bug. The wrong guy to bug on an airplane is Mike Tyson. Did you guys see that?
Oh my God. From 10 days ago?
Yeah.
Could you imagine sitting there watching Iron Mike Tyson pummeling a guy in the seat 3 seats in front of you? That's where you hit the stewardess, ding. Excuse me, do you have any pretzels? We have an issue a couple aisles in front of you. Can I get you the pretzels in mid-flight? No, actually, I want them now.
Stop it. Leave me alone. Stop it.
Can I tell you my Mike Tyson story? I met Mike Tyson. Sure. Mike Tyson came into the radio station one day, and he was on with Murph and Mac, and he's walking around, I go into the sports office at the old KMBR in 55 Hawthorne. There is a crowd around Mike Tyson that was like, I would say 30, 35 deep of KMBR and employees and Bone employees and, K-Fog employees, all these people who work in the radio station were like walking around Tyson. And as he moved, this whole group of people was like moving with him, right? And it was crazy. When he turned around, you would have thought he was like a pit bull off a leash. Like everybody would back up, like, oh, as he just turned around. I don't know what people thought he was going to do, right? So I'm walking into the sports office and I see all these people and I'm like, who the hell is that? Who's there? And I look over the throne and I can see it's Tyson. So I'm standing there and I'm kind of watching this for a minute. And literally, as he moves to the left and moves to the right, people are getting out of his way. People are like falling down to like get out of his way. And everybody's like really nervous. I mean, I've never seen so many nervous people. But they were all gathered around him like a moth to a flame. It was crazy.
Were they like asking him questions and stuff? Like
they weren't even really asking him questions. He was just like there, and there's just all these people around him. And as he's like turning and moving around, they're like looking afraid, like he's gonna turn and attack them or something. And so I see this for like a minute, and then finally I realize these people are either unbelievably starstruck or like treating this guy like he's a caged animal. So I kind of pushed through and I'm like, Mike. And he looks over the throng of people and he's like, hey, man. And I kind of just put my hand up and we kind of high-fived and then we kind of did the bro hug right there. And I'm like, hey, man, how you doing? So welcome to KMBR. And, oh, man, I'm a huge fan of your career. We start talking. Now we're having like a one-on-one conversation. And I turn around. Everybody's still there. And they're just kind of like, it's like, are you talk to him? He's a person. They literally, you would have thought it was like a caged tiger and that he was gonna bite them. And so I pushed through. I wind up talking to him for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, finally I turned to all the people and I'm like, hey, guys, I am Mike Tyson. Do you guys have anything you want to say to him? And then all of a sudden people are like, yeah, I have a question. All these people, and it's like, what in the hell's going on? So
guys were real true sports guys.
I don't know what the hell they were thinking. I don't know what people. I'm looking at all these people and I'm like, why are you acting this way around this guy? And then so I'm like, all right, he needs a few minutes. I want you guys, take off. And sure enough, everybody kind of disperses and they kind of walk down the hall. And I turned to Mike. I go, what the hell was that? He goes, I don't know. All those people were following me around. I thought someone wanted to do an interview with me, but nobody asked me any questions. And I'm like, I just start laughing. So I go, sit down, man, sit down. We'll talk. So we're talking about Cuss D'Amato and the Catskill Mountains and what Cuss taught him about boxing. And we're talking about some of his early fights. And, I was telling him different little things that I appreciated about his career. And I'm asking him questions. And he was just a totally normal guy at that point. But he was surrounded by so many people and they were all like, Mike, Iron Mike Tyson.
Sounds like your Ishikawa story.
They didn't ask him any questions. What's that?
It sounds just like your Ishikawa story after he hit the dinger.
Well, that was just me waiting for an interview. And then I waited and waited and waited and waited. This time I was like, I tried to figure out why everybody's standing there and not asking him questions. And then I realized everybody's just so uncomfortable around Mike Tyson that they didn't feel like they could ask him any questions. And I just started talking to him. And after we talked after I asked him 4 or 5 questions and he's giving me answers and we're talking, I realized I'm like, hey, everybody, I think he's done talking. So you guys can all just go back to your desks. They all walk away. I'm like, sit down, Mike. Sits down in the sports office and just is like, he's like, I don't know what all those people wanted from me. I'm like, I think they were just totally enamored that you were even here. And I think they just wanted a close-up look, but then they didn't really have anything they wanted to ask you. And maybe they got a little intimidated. So that was one of my favorite encounters. The other one was I walked in, Murph and Mac had Will Ferrell on.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And so I walk into the sports office. He's got his back to me and he wheels around. and it's Will Ferrell, and he's got a huge smile on his face. And literally, I had just seen Semi-Pro, and so I put my arms up. I'm like, "Hey, it's Jackie Moon!" And he goes immediately, guys, right into some of the lines from that movie and some of the Jackie Moon lines from Semi-Pro. And he could not have been a nicer, cooler, more fun guy. That was the cool thing about working in radio, is that, one time it was a Friday night, the late Billy Steele, who sadly just passed recently. And Billy, you're up there, brother. Love you. He was doing the show on the Bone, right? I'm doing the show, Friday night show on KMBR. I go into the lobby during a commercial break. There's a guy smoking a cigarette in the lobby. Well, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. So I'm like, "Hey, bro, you're not allowed to smoke in the building." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I didn't realize." And he starts to put it out in this ashtray right there on the table, or not an ashtray, on the glass. He starts putting out his cigarette, and Billy Steele walks out of the Bone studio, and I'm like, "Billy, your buddy here's smoking cigarettes in the lobby, man. You got to tell your bros that you can't be smoking cigs in the lobby in the office building. We got sprinklers that are going to go off like 5 seconds from now." And he's like, "Do you know who that is?" And I look at the guy, and I have no idea who he is. He's like, "I knew he was a rocker. I could tell he was a rocker." He's like, "That's Slash from Guns N' Roses." And so then I tell my producer who's running the board, I'm like, "Dude, play like a 15-minute spot set." And I go, "I'm hanging out with Slash and Billy Steele in the lobby." And we just sat there and talked Guns N' Roses. It was incredible. So that's the one thing about radio back in the old days. Tons of people would come in, and you would get the chance to meet them, and like you never knew who you were going to meet. Never knew who you're going to meet. In fact, Mark Graves says Eddie Money. I actually sat next to Eddie Money, who was a Bay Area guy, I believe, at a Giants game. Yep. And seriously, everybody who walked by, fist in the air, "Eddie, Eddie." He was talking about a guy who was cool. Eddie Money was cool. Yeah, he was cool.
Did you ever ask for like pictures or like autographs ever or anything like that?
No, I'm not. It was.
Yeah, you're not an autograph guy.
I'm not an autograph guy, and I've never been an autograph guy. I would ask for pictures. The last time I asked for pictures, as I was playing in a celebrity golf tournament, and I got paired with Kato Kalin.
Oh, OJ trial.
Yeah, and it was after the OJ trial, so everybody wanted to play with Kato Kalin, and I have a picture on my phone of me and Kato Kalin in the parking lot of the golf course. It was somewhere on the 680, but he was a really cool guy, Kato Kalin.
What a trip.
So,
that was one thing at Corolla. I felt like I maybe overcompensated a little bit in the opposite direction, where I was just like, literally, I'm not even going to mention ever like the fact that it's like, obviously, like I know that I know who you are, but like I never wanted to be the guy like asking for pictures or autographs, except for one time. It was my buddy's birthday and Tony Hawk was in, and he's a really big fan of Tony Hawk. And I
met Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk's huge, man. Tony Hawk's like 6'6".
He was walking in with a cane. I was a little worried. He's still just shredding. He just still shreds. Like I was like, "Oh no, is he like getting old?" And it's like, no, he just like ate S on a skateboard, which is kind of awesome. Like at his age.
Did you guys ever meet somebody that you admired and then had a bad encounter with them, and then suddenly were like, "Oh God, I love that guy. Now I don't." The guy that's on that list for me, Bob Uecker. Oh. So Bob Uecker seems like totally happy and approachable. So the Brewers were in town. I'm like, "Hey, Ueck, how you doing, man? Work at the radio station. Love to interview you." I mean, like, he literally was like backpedaling as fast as he could away. I mean, he was like, he like wanted no part of it. So, I mean, that's that. And that's fine. That's fine. And that's people's prerogative. And guys like that, when your persona is that you're approachable, you get approached. Right.
Yeah.
So Uecker's persona is that he's incredibly approachable. So everybody and their brother feels like they know him and want to approach him. It probably just gets old. That's all.
Yeah, I found that like usually the most interesting ones, the ones that like a non-disclosure agreement would stop me from being able to talk about, like those ones, every single time they always rolled in with a crew. And like they always had, for some reason, they always came in with a couple people. Usually they're crazy, and then they just have like crazy people that hang around with them, and they're kind of their assistants, kind of just their friends, and yeah.
Stephen J's banging on me. When Chip Kelly had his press conference, I got to ask like one of the very first questions, and so they hand me the mic, and I said, "Hey Chip, welcome to the Bay Area," and he's like, "Thank you." Then I asked him a question, and the guys at the radio station saved that clip. And every single time I'd be like, I can't stand people who glad hand everybody and blah, blah, blah. And immediately here comes the board op with, "Hey, Chip, welcome to the Bay Area." Unbelievable. Brian Primetime Smith.
I met Kurt Warner and Larry Fitzgerald after a Cardinals game down here in Arizona, and
good guys. Both those guys are good guys.
Let me take pictures. My son, I said, my son at the time, he was in his late teens, about 16, 17, I think. So he's like, "Hey, would you mind taking a picture with my son?" He was very cool. Both of them were great. And, Joe Starkey, I did some work with Joe in the booth at Cal when my brother played at Cal. Joe let me be the spotter and they had Monty Stickles, and so I'm sitting up there in the booth, pointing with the binocs who made the tackle, so that because he's calling play by play, and then I would point to the one that made the tackle, and then he'd announce tackle made by Rich Dixon or Kevin Moan on the tackle. It was pretty cool. So
brush with fame. This was like the old brush with fame. Vegas is a great spot to run into famous people too. I was at the Rum Jungle one night, and a guy drops his drink. He drops his drink on my forearm, and it's like his entire drink's running down my forearm, and I'm like, what the hell? Who the hell's that? And I go and I kind of grab the guy. I'm like, "Hey, bro, you just dumped your entire drink on my arm." And it was the comedian from Seinfeld who goes by Kenny Banya. Remember that guy? He was like, "Gold, Jerry, that's gold." Do you guys ever remember that guy from Seinfeld?
Yeah.
He plays in the show. He plays this hack comedian, but he's a comedic actor. And I'm like, "Oh, you're in Seinfeld," and he's like, "Oh, I feel so sorry." And and I'm like, "You're the guy who's just gold, Jerry, gold." And he's like, yeah, that's good memory. And then so we start talking to me and my buddy are talking to this guy, and he's like, he goes, "I'll get you a new drink." And the bartender comes over, and he's like, "Bartender, and we get three shots." And then he's like, "How about 3 Goldschlagers? Have you guys ever had Goldschlager?" And because I had said "Gold, Jerry," because that was his line in the show, we had Goldschlager shots, and it was like a blacklight thing. And Goldschlager has like little pieces of like, I don't know what it is, like looks like gold.
Yeah, the gold, yeah.
In the shot. Anyway,
so what are your stories? You got one good story of an athlete who was just a jerk to you
Well, I mean, Euchre was kind of a jerk. I mean, he was literally backpedaling. And when I asked him if he would do an interview, instead of answering, he just kind of backed away and kind of turned and walked away. So that I'd probably say him. There have been others, though. Joe Girardi, when he was with the Yankees and the Yankees were hot, and it was the 90s, I went over to the Coliseum and he's like, the Yankees have had so much media that they really hate the media. Like if you go interview the Pittsburgh Pirates, it's just, sit down. You want to play some cards? It's just like, seriously. I mean, you go into the Florida Marlins clubhouse and they're like, it would strike you almost like a college fraternity or something. They're so young. But the Yankee clubhouse is like, stars everywhere and lots of media requests and pressure up the kazoo. And Paul O'Neill and Joe Girardi didn't like the fact that we were in there before 3:00. And the guy's like, he's like, "We're not open for business." And I'm like, "No problem, I'll wait." And Joe Girardi was kind of a dick. He was kind of like, wait in the hallway. He was kind of a jerk. I also, even though he wasn't a jerk to me, I've seen Buck Showalter be a total jerk to people. If you can picture that, he was kind of a red ass, kind of an old style guy who just kind of, I don't know. I don't know what his problem was, but he seemed like he had a lot of problems with the media. He really had problems with the electric media. Like people were standing in there with pads of paper, but as soon as guys came in with microphones, he'd be like instantly in a bad mood. So, some guys just don't like electric media people.
I've got a story, a Pittsburgh Pirates story, actually, when they were actually good. I was 18 and I was the sports director at my high school radio station. We had a high school, our Clayton Valley High School had a radio station. And I used to do the play-by-play after I graduated. I did, because I played, on the varsity basketball and football team. So, but I did the broadcast after I left. My first year, I went to Los Madonnas College in Pittsburgh. I was going to JC there. So the teacher actually let me do the play-by-play for the basketball games, which was kind of cool because I got to, my buddies that were juniors when I was a senior were now seniors. So I was calling their games. But I had a pass to the Giants back in 1980, and they were playing the Pirates. And so I had a clubhouse pass after the game, and I went in with my little cassette recorder, and I walk up to Dave Parker, he's sitting over there at his locker.
Cobra.
Yeah. And he had, I guess he had just gotten out of the shower or something. He had a towel wrapped around him, and he's sitting there at his locker talking. I said, hey, Dave, you got a moment for a few questions? And I'll never forget his words. I don't know if I could say them here on YouTube. So I'll
Get lost, kid.
I'll substitute the word. He said, "Not right now, man. It's hot and my rooster's all sweaty." But he didn't say. He didn't say rooster.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm 18 years old, and I'm just like, okay, that's cool. And so, but he wasn't mean or anything. He was just saying,
I've had some interesting interviews for sure. I interviewed Glenn Allen Hill, who was from Santa Cruz, and we had a really interesting conversation about how he suffers from arachnophobia. He's afraid of spiders.
I've heard that.
In the interview, he smoked 3 cigarettes, and it was only about a 10-minute interview. I've never seen anybody puff on a cigarette as fast and as aggressively as G. Hill. He smoked 3 cigarettes in the visiting clubhouse at Candlestick. In literally like an 11-minute interview, he put down 3 smags.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, that was incredible. I interviewed Paul Konerko one day, and less than 20 minutes later, it was like right before the game, they were about to close the clubhouse.
This one is TikToks, or
he was with the Reds at the time. No, he was with the Dodgers at the time. He was at the Dodgers at the time. He's in the visiting clubhouse. I interviewed him, and he got traded before the game started to the Reds for Jeff Shaw, or I think it was for a reliever named Shaw. And seriously, I just talked to him, and he had just told me how he'd come up in the Dodgers farm system. He was excited to be a Dodger. We hadn't even played the interview yet. We are going to play it in the post game. And we're like, yeah, we caught up with Paul Konerko in the pregame, and before now he's a Cincinnati Red. And they literally traded him before the game started. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when you get to meet guys, you'll find out that they, why they struggle. Like the Giants had a reliever named Jerry Spradlin who they traded for. And this guy threw 98 miles an hour and had a pretty nasty breaking pitch. And I remember going into the visiting clubhouse or the home clubhouse at Candlestick and interviewing Jerry Spradlin the day he got traded to the Giants. And he's just like, I'm interviewing this guy, and you could just tell he had no confidence. He's like, yeah, I'm like, hey man, you got premier stuff. Yeah, when it's not getting hit all over the place, it's like, he really it was like, he was really like sheepish. And I'm thinking to myself, and I said to the guy who was doing the interview with me, Chris Townsend, I'm like, I've never seen a guy throwing 97 with that kind of breaking stuff who sounded more defeated and more, like he had no confidence. And sure enough, he was up for a few weeks. He got hit hard and he was back in the minor league. So it's not always how hard you throw. Anyway, let's get out of here. We're past midnight. We want to call it a night. Good show today overall. Let's thank our sponsors. Telmetrics.co. Telmetrics.co. If you're an orthopedic surgeon or an occupational therapist, a chiropractor, or a physical therapist, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. So what is Telmetrics? Well, Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and telehealth environments. Using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, use it as a resource. Go to telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics for being proud sponsors of the Krueg Show. And then, Danny, you are our other sponsor. SecureMoney.com is your website, and Dan's number is 925-628-9966. And Danny, why don't you, in your own words, kind of describe what the experience is like for people who either go to your website or, call 925-628-9966. What's that experience going to be like? What kinds of questions do you ask them? What kind of information do they need when they sit down with you?
Yeah, I'm basically just like any financial professional, going to find out what your goals are, what your portfolio looks like, what are you wanting to accomplish, and help you get there. What I basically specialize in is growing your assets without any risk to your principal. So if that's something that, is important to you, as the older you get, the more important it is to not have so much at risk. So I focus in on just protecting people's assets and growing them at a reasonable rate of return.
And is it, it's obviously it all, you've different strategies for different people who want different outcomes.
Right.
How long are these consultations and how long does it take, before, people can actually, give you, what they're, how long does it take from when you sit down with them to when they ultimately, get a plan developed? Is it is it a one session deal? You sit down with them and map out their strategy, or do you have to meet with them multiple times? What's that process like?
Generally, we'll meet more than once. I mean, the first meeting can be just a lot by phone. Depends on, we could do a face-to-face at the office, but, it's the first meeting is generally anywhere from, I'd say 30 minutes to an hour. And then if they want to move forward with some of the plan, I'll get their ideas and then I'll put a presentation together, show them on paper what it looks like and what they can expect. And then we go from there. So
sounds good.
Yeah.
SecureMoney.com on the web, and the phone number 925-628-9966. Dan Coachemilio, and we appreciate Dan for being a sponsor of the show as well. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, folks, and be extra sure to hit the reminder bell so you can catch all the upcoming shows. I'm loving the YouTube project. I'm having a lot of fun. Thanks for supporting the channel. Thanks to Len. Thanks to Ryan. Thanks to the sponsors. Thanks to all of you. Do we have somebody on the phone line here, Ryan, or whose voice was I hearing there?
Oh, I think you just heard Siri. I actually did not know there was a Siri button on my MacBook, but somehow I clicked it. So sorry about that.
All right. Couple last comments in the chat. Stephen J, who's been active tonight, says, later, fellas. Stephen, appreciate you hanging out. Fable JVC says, good night, guys. Thank you to the sponsors. And then Matthew Mears kind of sums it up. He says, big day tomorrow. Let's get it. Giants and Warriors. Giants in the daytime, Warriors in the nighttime. I'm back with you tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big Wednesday. I'll be on Grant Cohn's channel at 3. Vish Kumaran is going to join me tomorrow at noon. And we'll talk a little 49ers with Vish, get his thoughts. I haven't talked to him since the draft. So we got a big Wednesday. We won't be doing post-game on the Giants tomorrow because tomorrow is my son's final JV baseball game of the year. Danny has brought out the broom. Sweep sweep. So hopefully the Giants will get the sweep. But we will be with you tomorrow night after the Warriors hopefully put away Memphis, and Cyrus Satsis will join us. And Danny, you're welcome to come back. And of course, Rye, of course, you're always here. So we appreciate you guys hanging and we'll do kind of a little bit of a delayed Giants post game. So we're not going to do post game right at, Giants play at 12:45. My son's game's at 4:00. So I'm going to go watch my kid play his final JV game, go Northgate against, I think it's Los Lomas tomorrow out here in Walnut Creek. So I'll be doing that at around 4:00, and then Warrior game in the evening, and we'll do a post game and we'll talk Giants and Warriors tomorrow night after Warrior basketball, and hopefully a double win. So guys, a final thought from either one of you.
I would say I'm looking for the sweep. Alex Cobb on the mound tomorrow. I'm not sure who Colorado's got going.
They're going with Chad Kuhl, the righty, the former Pittsburgh Pirate.
So we'll see. I don't know if they're putting Wade in there, playing him back to back yet. He looked good tonight. He got around the bases pretty good on Belt's. I think Belt hit one into the gap, and or somebody did. But
yeah, he scored a run.
Yeah. So he's looking healthy. Hopefully, they get the lefty back out there. And I love the left-handed lineup just because they got a lot of power with Belt, Wade, Yaz, Jock. Who else is
Crawford,
Gonzalez. I really like that when they have their left-handed guys that are healthy. They're getting them back and stuff. They're starting to look more like the team, as far as last year when they're getting everybody healthy. So hopefully Wilmer's back's okay. I'm sure he's going to be okay. He might not be in the lineup tomorrow, and then they got a day off Thursday. So that should give him 3 days off if he's not playing tomorrow, and he'll be ready to go hopefully by Friday.
Sounds good. Danny, you're welcome to join us tomorrow night as well after Warrior basketball. We love to. I loved some of your comments last night about the Warriors. You're not a one-trick pony, man. You're not just Giants. You can go now. Cy can just go Warriors, but you, my friend, can go Warriors and Giants
and
49ers and 49ers. We haven't even gotten into Niners with Danny yet.
Yeah.
Rye, you got a final thought on a night that we're celebrating 4,000 subscribers and a lot of momentum for the channel? You got a final thought on the proceedings?
Yeah, just thank you so much to everyone. I look forward to this every night. It's really awesome. And it's special we got to 4,000. And man, I hope we can just keep going up. And then also, don't mean to be a downer, but God, I'm just really hoping the Warriors take care of business tomorrow. I don't want this thing going 6. I don't want it going 6, because if it goes 6, it can go 7. And if it goes 7, anything can happen. So we've seen this movie before, so I just want them to take care of business. Hopefully last game was a good wake-up call. I
think it's what's good about what happened the other night. They didn't have the lead until 45 seconds left in the game. They trailed the whole game, but with Ja out, they're going to expect to see the same, so they should have a little bit of adjustments made to be able to counter what Memphis is doing on defense, because they can't shoot any worse in the first half than they did, Monday night.
I think they know. I think the Warriors are going to fire because they emotionally no-showed that last game and they still got the win. Matthew Mears has got the brooms out. He's going for the sweep tomorrow against the Rockies. SG Sports Talk channel says, are you going to do a call-in show for the Warriors? Yes, we will. We'll do one tomorrow night. And then SG Sports Talk channel says, hey, Larry, I'm doing a Warriors post-game show tomorrow. Do you want to be my guest on my channel? Well, I'll be doing my own stuff tomorrow, but just anybody who wants me to be a guest on their channel, just hit me up on Twitter. And if I got time, I will do it. For Dan and Ryan, I'm Larry. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah, we ain't never fall back.